Hey, how's it going everyone? Welcome to a video here with the latest Dragon Ball S.H Figuarts release, and that is Vegeta Mini DAIMA. So the itty bitty Vegeta to go along with the itty bitty Goku from the new DAIMA anime series. If you haven't been watching, yeah, jump on it, it's cool, the animation is awesome. I think if you are a fan of a bit more of the adventure style, especially OG Dragon Ball, I think you'll enjoy this one a lot more than Super. But you know, each to their own. At least in this one here, there is a really cool mix of adventure and action so far at least. I'm looking forward to seeing where it will go. Now I mentioned in the Goku video, I wasn't keen on picking up these figures. And again, I didn't actually pre-order this one, I picked them up while I was in Akihabara yesterday. Checking out the latest Tamashii Nations 2024 event with a mate. But yeah, I kind of want to get out each one just to have a look at the articulation, because I was impressed by Goku. Super tiny, but don't worry, I do have some binoculars here so we can get a nice and close to check out the detail on this figure without too much trouble. So yeah, anyway, let's just pop out the packaging so we can see what it comes with. Okay, so Vegeta in the centre with a bit of a annoyed look on him already. And we've got a bit of a cocky smile, mouth open, screaming, teeth gritting expression. Your stock standard Dragon Ball expression lineup essentially. Yeah, especially with Vegeta, Junior always has these looks, right? We get folded arms. I'm curious how these will go, considering I despise folded arms on the figures. They're always not exactly the most fun part to exchange, as you know if you've been watching my videos for a while. But I'm keen to see how this works on such a tiny figure. We get kind of a wind sweep here, which is an interesting choice. And then 3 pairs of additional hands. You know, basic martial arts ones, you know, kind of loose grip, tighter grip, and your spread fingers. So nice range of hands there. Again, nothing really new or outstanding. Just your stock standard parts that you'd expect from a Dragon Ball figure arts. Especially with Vegeta, I think he basically comes with. Actually, only thing he's missing is that, you know, thumbs up one where he points to himself in that cocky manner that he does. I feel like that is the main part that this figure is missing, which basically every other Vegeta has. But anyway, let me get him out of the clamshell. So we put him on the turntable and check out the finish on this tiny figure. Okay, so he's on the turntable here, swinging around. Yeah, I mean, not much to say. He is Vegeta in a shrunken form. The armor is looking great. I love the colour with the mustard yellow into the kind of off-white colour for the armor. The blue is a nice colour as well. Obviously, I mean, a lot of Vegetas are kind of very, either a little bit light, a little bit too dark. I feel like, at least for me in this series, and in this figure form, they've hit the Goldilocks formula of the blue being just right hue and saturation for my liking, at least. Now that is something that is probably more personal preference. So yeah, let me know in the comments below if you are happy with this blue or not. But yeah, other than that, the sculpting is looking all good. The hair is quite nice and rounded. We definitely get the iconic Vegeta look from the hair, which is good. And on the boots we also have extra lines and details on there, even though they are tiny. So yeah, the sculpting on this is looking nice, even if it's pretty basic, not bad. And the joints, they don't stick out too badly. Actually, you can see them on the back of the knee, the elbow as well. And as you can see when you swing around on the front, depending how you pose your arm, you will see a little wee gap. It's not too, you know, major or annoying. You can just say bring in a little bit more to close it up. So again, a little bit of playing around, you can definitely make them look a lot cleaner, opposed to just, you know, throwing them into a normal basic pose. So overall, aesthetically speaking, I think, yeah, they've nailed the tiny look, looking really good. So now let's jump over to the articulation. Now, starting with the head, the swivel is all good. He can look down extremely well. And you can look, imagine Vegeta here standing in the rain, recreating the iconic Dragon Ball Z scene in chibi form. I could see some good use with these little DAIMA figures outside of focusing on actual DAIMA itself, but you know, there's some fun photography related shots, you know, some comedic ones, parodies and so forth. So that's at least one good reason why you can pick up these figures. Now coming into the shoulder, this is all fully molded, but despite that we get a great range of motion. As we can see, the arms can swing all the way around, and then again we can swivel back, down, up. So these joints feel super fluid and nice, and I think this should just pop right off, and it will reveal the joint underneath. So this is what we'll attach the folded arms onto later, and there's a little bit of slot in here as well to make it easier to pop on and off, which is good. So yeah, nice and easy to do, which is good, with a satisfying click. The elbow joint is probably a little bit more limited than what you'd expect, but since it's super tiny, not much to do there, but at least we get a, somewhat decent range of motion. The wrist peg is nice, feels fluid, moves well. This is probably a super tiny peg. Yep. Okay, so like I could kind of a square one with a little wee ridge at the end that will grip into the hand itself. Moving down to the lower torso, he can swivel, he can pivot, he has more range than Reno from Kaiju 8, so that is crazy. Yeah, actually surprisingly quite nice despite his whole upper torso being solid plastic. His leg as well can kick up really high, will go back well, spreads out a little bit when you do it, but not too bad. Splits not so much, but I feel like the lower half feels like it's got more range than your full size Z or Super Vegeta, which is crazy, right? Anyway, the knee joint's okay, bit more range than what the elbow had at least, which is good to see. And then the ankle itself has a nice decent sized peg. One thing I have noticed when posing it, sometimes the peg will face in one direction, and it can be a little bit harder to swivel it back around, because then you kind of have one foot facing off in a weird direction. So just keep in mind you may need to fiddle a little bit or try and get in there and grip the actual peg itself to swivel it back into place if needed. So yeah, all of the faces on this figure, they have a nice printing, all the lines are crisp and clean, and you can mix and match from the wavy here and the base here as well for any of the faces, so it does give you a lot of options, which is great. Personally, I really love that cocky smile with that wingsuit here. It's my favourite combination, at least. But yeah, what one is your favourite so far, or what do you think you'll be going with your main pose on your display? So I've got Goku and Vegeta here in a pose. Actually, this is just what I've been going with in the display for Goku. Super nice and easy, and looks pretty decent. So for Vegeta here, try to get him into a few more dynamic poses. And one thing that I've noticed, Goku is pretty sturdy despite the large head. Vegeta himself is not as well balanced. He has kind of smaller lower body, skinnier legs, I think even a little bit taller, I believe. Let me stretch his legs out there. Yeah, so compared to Goku, let's get that. Yeah, so slightly taller as well, just not as, I guess, stocky as Goku, which does make it harder for those kind of standing dynamic poses to balance with the smaller figures. That is something to keep in mind, and obviously since he's so small, it won't look quite as good with a stand. But let me switch him up into another pose so we can check him out, maybe standing up instead. Okay, now this is what we're talking about. I reckon standing out with the wingsuit here, that cocky smile, it just works really well. And the folded arms on this figure, not bad to change. Here's the better design of the split. So you attach one side at a time, you can just raise them up, or raise them up or down to combine. And yeah, works really good. Definitely, yeah, at least with the folded arms when they split, it makes it a lot easier to put them on and off. And yeah, overall, so far, it actually works really well with this figure. I think if I'm going to be displaying Mini Vegeta here, I think this will be the pose I'll be going for. Nice, simple, and pretty sturdy, since you don't really need to have a stand or anything like that to keep them well balanced. So way the shoulders work with all being one solid piece, and it's a little bit harder to get him into his Galagan pose, but it's not completely impossible. It doesn't look too bad either. So as you can see, the articulation figure, actually for a tiny figure, is really good. So you can get some pretty cool dynamic poses, and I'm sure people out there who are amazing at posing will be able to do some really cool things with this figure. I'm looking forward to seeing those photos online later. Okay, moving over to the pros and cons, got a little bit of lineup here. Obviously the DAIMA Goku, Vegeta, we've got the S.H Figuarts Anya, and we have a couple of gacha figures. This is a gacha Burning Godzilla in the back, and two little gacha Jutsu Kaisen figures for Eugene and total. So yeah, this is something to kind of show the size of these articulated figures from Figuarts is pretty similar to the larger size gacha figures you can get, and that is pretty crazy, right? Like the amount of articulation in these two figures especially is extremely surprising. I think that's one reason why I have put them up, just because I was curious. And then Goku being so articulated, I was kind of keen to see how Vegeta was, because out of the three, Goku, Piccolo and Vegeta is definitely on the bottom from the promo pic. Seeing it, just he didn't spark any desire to pick him up, right? So yeah, that's going to be where I want to start with pros and cons. First pro being the articulation of this figure is actually really good for a tiny figure, especially the way the arms move, even though these are solid plastic parts for the upper arm. The folded arm of this figure actually works really nice, easy to pop on and off. It's got the split design so you can easily detach, attach and then combine when needed. We get the windsurf here, the base here. Well, no huge difference. It does allow for extra variety in your poses, which is good. Personally, I really like the windsurf here with that cocky smile. I think, as I mentioned earlier, this is probably going to be how I will display him in my collection, at least for the time being. Now the other pro, I think I like the colouring, the selection hands as your stock stands, and nothing really to say there. The printing of faces, all good. I don't really have any major cons, to be honest. I think for the limitations of having to keep them super tiny, they've basically nailed everything. The sculpt is nice, colouring, articulation, faces, so yeah, to be honest, I don't have a con. Besides the fact that I just personally don't really want them. I think that's what it's going to come down to for these DAIMA figures. Maybe that will change the more I see the series. Maybe these ones will grow and they will become something I need to keep in my collection. But at least for the time being, I like the Goku one the best. I think at this rate I'm definitely going to be getting Piccolo. And if you've been keeping an eye out on the news for the Tomodachi Nations 2024 event, they have shown off Kaioshin as well as the other two, I guess, people that join them on their adventure. So for those ones, I think only Kaioshin I'm kind of keen on, and for him when I said, man, I want a large version. His sample at the show was looking amazing. I feel like it's wasted on the kid versions. Oh man, I'd love to have that Z version, the large one. But hey, at least they have the data there now, so hopefully that will become something that they can easily put together once we dive deeply into that Majin Buu saga later down the line. But at least for now, I think these figures are pretty cool if you're into DAIMA. Awesome pickup for hardcore Z, GT and other line collectors. I don't know, I think they're still worthwhile picking up for a good play, and I think for toy photography they could have their place as well. But you know, other than that, I think it's going to come down to your personal preference if you want them or not. So I'll leave that up to you to decide. But yeah, let me know in the comments below, what do you think about the line so far? Has it met or exceeded your expectations, or are you just left wanting more? But yeah, that is it for the video, so yeah, let's leave it there. So anyway, again, thank you so much for watching, and until next time, cheers!